Greetings, mortal. In the ever-so-thrilling world of video game development, where fortunes are made, dreams are shattered, and someone is always lurking in the shadows with a checkbook and a grudge, few sagas have quite captured the imagination like that of MindsEye. Released to a chorus of polite coughs and awkward silences in June 2025, Bᴏᴛs' ambitious action-adventure thriller has since become less a game and more a rolling documentary on how not to handle public relations. One might have thought that a lukewarm critical reception, described by some as stringent and relentlessly dull, which is frankly generous, would prompt a period of quiet reflection. Perhaps a few patches, a sale or two, and a dignified retreat to work on the next project. But no. At Bᴏᴛs, the preferred response to adversity appears to be to declare that the entire internet has been bought off by a sinister cabal spending millions to ruin their good name. The latest chapter in this gripping drama unfolded just days ago, when co-CEO Mark Gerhardt reportedly informed staff, during what one assumes was a perfectly ordinary internal meeting, that the studio had finally unmasked the villains behind a coordinated €1 million-plus sabotage campaign. Yes, dear listener, over €1 million allegedly spent solely to make people say unkind things about MindsEye on YouTube and Steam. One can only imagine the boardroom meetings at this mysterious, major U.S. company, names have not been named, naturally, where executives solemnly allocate 7 figures to funding negative reviews. Gentlemen, one pictures them saying over caviar, we simply cannot allow this plucky Scottish studio to succeed. Deploy the Bᴏᴛs. Mr. Gerhardt, ever the optimist, assured employees that the culprits had been identified and that legal action would follow. One particularly inspired touch, according to reports, is the plan to immortalize the alleged saboteurs in an upcoming in-game spy mission, where players will presumably get to thwart their dastardly schemes in fictional form. Nothing says, we are handling this maturely, like turning your real-world grievances into DLC content. One looks forward to the patch notes, added new mission, Operation Crying CEO. This is, of course, merely the most recent escalation in a controversy that has been simmering since well before launch. Back in May 2025, when the first gameplay trailers elicited a collective shrug from the gaming public, Mr. Gerhardt suggested that the negative comments were the work of paid operatives and bot farms. At the time, one might have dismissed this as pre-launch nerves. After all, nearly every developer believes their game is misunderstood. But persistence is key, and Bᴏᴛs have remained steadfast in their conviction that the problem lies entirely outside the studio walls. The game's post-launch journey has been no less eventful. Layoffs arrived with the subtlety of a drone strike, prompting an open letter from staff criticizing leadership and allegations of mishandled redundancies. Union members reportedly took the matter to court. Somewhere in the midst of this, accusations surfaced that the studio had deployed its own bots to bolster positive sentiment, an irony so thick one could spread it on toast. Through it all, the leadership's refrain has remained constant, it's not us, it's them. To be fair, MindsEye itself is not entirely without merit. Its near-future setting in the dusty sprawl of Red Rock is handsomely rendered, and the central conceit, a former soldier grappling with a mysterious neural implant, has a certain cinematic appeal. The trouble is that the missions tend towards the formulaic, sneak here, shoot there, drive this vehicle, repeat. Critics noted that even the drone sections, which ought to have been a highlight, felt oddly weightless. Players, meanwhile, have been rather less diplomatic, leaving the game languishing with review scores that would make a politician blush. Yet rather than accept that perhaps the game simply did not set the world alight, the studio has constructed an elaborate narrative of persecution. One is reminded of those charming conspiracy theorists who insist the moon landing was filmed in a Hertfordshire studio because the shadows looked a bit off. Here, the shadows are negative Steam reviews, and the Hertfordshire studio is a nameless American megacorporation with apparently nothing better to do with its money. There is, naturally, a certain tragicomedy to it all. Bᴏᴛs was founded by Leslie Benzies, formerly of Rockstar North, a man who helped craft some of the most successful games in history. One might have expected a certain resilience, a thick skin honed by years in an industry notorious for its brutality. Instead, we are treated to a prolonged public meltdown in which every criticism is evidence of a grand plot. It is almost touching, in a peculiar way, like watching a proud uncle insist that his nephew's school play was sabotaged by rival parents hiring professional hecklers. Whether the promised legal action will materialize remains to be seen. Past experience suggests that lawsuits against anonymous internet commentators tend to be rather tricky affairs. In the meantime, the studio soldiers on, promising an ever-expanding experience with regular new content. One suspects the next update may feature a mission in which players infiltrate a shady marketing firm and delete negative comments from a server farm. It would, at the very least, be on brand. And so the MindsEye saga rumbles on, a cautionary tale of ambition, fragility, and the perils of taking Steam reviews personally. In an industry where games do or die by public opinion, the surest way to guarantee obscurity is to insist that the public has been paid to dislike you. Somewhere, one imagines, a rival executive is chuckling quietly, not because they orchestrated €1 million smear campaign, but because they really didn't need to. This is your humble servant the Nerd Reaper, and I put the grim gaming takes in the bag.